Never ever let circumstances or any conditions that you have from the past dictate your life. I had to learn from different mentors that the fundament of achieving goals is setting the goals. Creative comes from creator. Creator is within. So we all have this within. We shouldn't focus on the circumstances outside. We have it in ourselves. In order to find a good goal, you need to ask yourself not only what do you want, you need to ask yourself what do you love. Whew. That is a big topic. Hi and welcome back to another episode of the Unbreakable Mind podcast. My name is Jonathan, your host, and in this podcast we speak about faith, sales, entrepreneurship, personal development, and many more topics. And I'm super excited actually for today's topic because the topic is, to be honest with you guys, it was a very basic and simple topic for me in the past. I didn't really take it serious, but then I learned the hard way, I would say, that I forgot something and I didn't focus on the right things when it came to goals. Because maybe you can relate. I'm 25 years old now. Actually, I'm turning 26 in 2 weeks. Feels a little bit weird, to be honest, because I'm going to be closer to the 30 mark than to the 20 mark. But anyways, in my 25 years of age, I definitely set a lot of goals before. And I never thought I had struggles in setting goals, but I actually had problems in the action mode, in how to achieve it, in, if I'm actually capable of achieving these goals. But that was completely wrong. But you can most likely relate. I set a lot of goals and I never achieved them fully. Maybe parts of the goal, but never fully. And I always ask myself, is it me not being capable of achieving the goal? Is it me that maybe could have done maybe more? Even though I already did so much, I was running, I was working my ass off, but I never really achieved the goals. And I had to learn from different mentors that the fundament of achieving goals is setting the goals. I mean, it's already there, right? It's very basic and simple. That's not a new thing, but still, at least me and maybe you guys as well that are listening right now, I had problems in focusing on the right things, which is setting the right goal, actually understanding why I want to achieve this goal, going to the root of it, going to the purpose of it. I never had really big purpose. And I'm not saying that you always need to have a big purpose in order to achieve a goal, but it's definitely helping. So let's actually dive into this episode and speak about the things that I personally learned from different mentors. I'm going to do a mix today of different ones. Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn, many other ones where I learned specific things. So let's dive into it. When it comes to a goal, we need to ask ourselves a very, very simple question in the beginning, which is, what do you want? What do I want? And actually it was Bob Proctor in the past that was speaking in one of his course about the dare that he gave us. He said, I dare you to go on the street and ask people what do they want. And I promise you, he said, most likely most of them will not have an answer. And I was like, I mean, it's a very simple question. What do you want, right? But when I thought about it, it was not so simple anymore. I asked some of my friends, hey, what do you really want? And they're like, what do you mean? I don't know. I'm like, oh, okay. So that is actually not so easy to understand what you really want because people don't really go to the root of it. They know, I want to be successful. I want to make a lot of money. But that's not really a goal. That's not specific. That's not really a clear goal, especially not measurable, but about this we speak later. So, and for the people that actually answer, right? Bob Proctor said as well, even if you find people that can actually have an answer, most of them, if you ask them, do you have it on paper? Do you have it written down? Do you have it somewhere to visualize, to see it in front of you? Most of them say no, why? And now I understand why that is so important when it comes to writing down your goal. But I was actually shocked how many people are not doing it. And if you don't do it, it's not a problem because I didn't do it myself in the past. But I would highly recommend you guys. But we're going to speak about that. But if I ask you right now, what do you want? Do you have an answer right away? Take this moment right now. Do you know it right away? Here, Can you now say it without thinking about it for more than 3 to 5 seconds? If you don't, that's not a bad thing, but then you don't have a clear goal. Then you don't have a good goal because you have no purpose. If you speak about your purpose, you know it right away. So there we need to work on, right? There we definitely need to work on. And let's speak about the definition of what do we actually do when we set a goal, right? What is actually happening when we set a goal? When we set a goal, we go for something that we want. I think we can all agree, right? But the thing is, most of the people, including me in the past, when I set a goal, I already knew how to reach it. And if you set a goal that you know already how to reach it, that's not really any crazy. That's not anything that you really want to have. Because again, you already know how to do it. So that is not really something which you're getting excited about. At least not me, right? Because that's already in your comfort zone, I would say. That's already like, okay, yeah, that's something I know how to do. Let's do it. Are you really getting excited about these things? I don't think so. And most likely you're just scared. You're most likely just scared and setting bigger goals. And actually Bob Proctor said one thing which I think is a really, really on-point definition of the different types of goals. He spoke about A, B, and C goals. And we can actually break them down, right? We can actually break them down, what they are. Because about one goal we already spoke. When we speak about the A-type goal, let's say it like this, right? That is, we have the definition as knowing, right? Or know. That means we already know how to achieve it. It is the present results that we have, right? But again, I ask you, if you want to grow in your life, if you want to achieve bigger things that you have right now, would you say the A-type goal, where you know already how to do it, which give you the same results that you have right now, is something to get excited about? I would say no. I would say no. So that is not really fitting, right? Bob Proctor actually did one example back then, which I think it's so funny. It sticks to my head. He asked this one guy in his seminar, and the people that know me, we spoke about this topic so many times, but it just sticks to my head. Like these things just stick to your head if you learn it so many times. So there was a guy in his seminar room, and he asked him the same questions. What do you want? What is your goal? And he said, I want to have a Cadillac, which is a car, right? I didn't know before, to be honest. I want to have a Cadillac. He's like, okay, nice. What kind of Cadillac? Yeah, the newest Cadillac, whatever year it was. And then Bob asked him, okay, nice, good goal. What do you drive right now? He said, a Cadillac. He was like, okay. And when did you buy it? 3 years ago. Was it a new one? Yes. So 3 years ago, he already was able to buy a brand new Cadillac. Don't get me wrong, that's great, right? The same goes for, let's do the German cars. Let's say you wanna get an Audi A3, right? I used to drive them. And I already got a new Audi A3 in the past. And now I say, okay, I want to have the newest version. I mean, in 2015, I got the newest Audi A3. And now in 2025, I want to have the newest Audi A3 as well. That is a goal that I already achieved, that I already know how to achieve. So this is an A-type goal that gives me the present results because I had this already. If I say I want to have an Audi R8, which is a sports car and way more expensive, then we speak about another goal. If I want to have a BMW M4 or something like that, I don't know. That's a different goal. It's the same category because we speak about a car, right? But it's different. We don't want to have the same brand, the same model, and the same category because you kind of bought it new. I mean, it was back then it was new, but now it's again new. So it's kind of the same goal. So I think that is a pretty accurate example for it, right? So again, an A-type goal is what you already know. It gives you the present results. When it comes to B-type goals, they're already a little bit better because We call it the plan goals, right? So these goals are, you're not 100% sure how to do it, but you think you can do it. You think you're able to achieve it, okay? But also back again, that is also, in my opinion, not something that I'm super, super excited about, because I kind of, I believe already in it. I know already I can do it. I just kind of have to figure out how to do it. So that's a better goal than the A-type goal, don't get me wrong. But the best goal is the C-type goal. Why? The C-type goal is fantasy, right? Because let's go back to our childhood, right? Let's go back to our childhood. When we were younger, we fantasized a lot, right? We were thinking, hey, we want to be Superman or Batman, or we want to have a mansion or whatever. We want to become this and this person in a job. Like, we thought a lot, we fantasized a lot. And when we came to school, it kind of stopped, didn't it? Like, we came to school, we were sitting in class, and especially these kids, me including, I always wanted to become a professional football player, right? I always wanted to become a professional football player. And my teachers always told me, you're not going to make it. And I was like having fantasies about, everything about my life when I'm a footballer, and how it is to travel around the world, how to play in the Champions League. I had the dream to play alongside Cristiano Ronaldo, my role model. So I wasn't really paying attention to class. But every time when I didn't pay attention to class, my teacher, called me and asked me, hey, do you have the homework, or do you want to present it or read it where we are right now? And I never knew where we were, because I was, watching out of the window, and I was in my own world in school, especially when I was younger. And step by step, I also got influenced. I also got influenced from my teachers. Every time I didn't pay attention, they didn't give me a fine, but you know what I mean? Like, they kind of made fun of me in front of the class and everything like that. I was a little bit rebellious afterwards as well in school, especially when I was younger. And I kind of lost this creativity and being, a person that is fantasizing a lot in a positive way. So I kind of lost it, and I think many of you can relate as well. When we were younger, we were more in our fantasy world. We were more excited about the things that coming up. And then when we became older and older, we knew, hey, life is serious, so we have to stop fantasizing. Even our parents in the past, when we were younger, they were okay with us having fantasies, because of course we were kids. But if we got older, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16, they're like, hey, you have to stop with that, because you have to live in the present world. And that is very, very, very true, right? You have to live in the world. You have to act and go into action mode in our present world. You cannot be in your head all the time. So that's very important to understand, that it's not just about fantasizing and visualizing all the time and stuff like that. But still, it's very, very important to, especially when it comes to your goals, to have fantasy, to be creative. I know many of you, and also me, called myself many times. I told myself I'm not creative. Whew. That is a big topic, to be honest. I am not creative. We spoke about this in the last episode, self-fulfilled prophecy, and the spoken word, how important it is. And if you say to yourself you are not creative, well, you already know, if you watched or if you listened to the last episode, what's going to happen. Most likely you are not creative. But if you think about the word creativity or creative in general, where does it come from? Creative comes from creator. Creator is within. So we all have this within. We shouldn't focus on the circumstances outside. We have it in ourselves. We can focus on ourselves. When it comes to creativity and imagination, like imagining you being the person that you want to become, you being the person, we spoke about it last time as well. You becoming the person that you want to be. You act as if the person that you want to become. And actually, Napoleon Hill, right? One of the most important books he wrote, Think and Grow Rich. right? I would highly recommend you, if you have not read it at least one time, you definitely should do it. I mean, the title, it says already, one of the most influential bestsellers of all time. Over 50 million copies sold worldwide. And he actually said something very, very important, which I wrote down here. He said, imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. So even Napoleon Hill says, imagination is one of the most important the most important powerful force we as a human being have. So again, creative comes from creator, and the creator is within. So we all have it within us. Don't let other people steal your dream. Don't let other people steal your dream, right? And I tell you already, you don't know how to reach your dream. You don't know how to do it. But isn't that the fun of actually figuring out on the way how to actually achieve your dream? That's the exciting part I was talking about. You need to get excited about your goal. Because if you're not really getting excited about your goal, you will not achieve it. And this is, again, something that I had struggles with. I was not really excited about my goal. I just set goals that were numbers where I was like, okay, yeah, I just want to achieve it. I'm just going to go for it. But I was not really involved with it. I was not really emotionally attached to it. But if you're not emotionally attached to your goal, again, you're not getting into motion. You're not getting excited. That's not going to work. So you need to deep down really feel it. And there's going to be tools for it, right? In general, also Bob Proctor actually said you should minimum have two different goals, which is one personal goal and one business or corporate goal, right? So let's say, for example, you have an own business, then it's about this. If you are working in a corporation, right? If you're working in a job, then you should have a corporate goal as well with your colleagues. It actually doesn't really matter in which situation you are right now, but let's say you are actually in a sales department, right? You should sit down with your colleagues. You should sit down and come on the same ground, like we like to say, right? Because if you are on the same ground with your team members, that's a complete game changer, because that then not just one person is emotionally attached to this goal, but let's say 10 people out of your department, and it's way easier and way more powerful to actually achieve this goal. Never ever let circumstances or any conditions that you have from the past dictate your life. This is such a powerful thing also when it comes to goals, because again, I personally had struggles in achieving my goals, and I was thinking, hey, it's not me, maybe it's circumstances. I'm not in the right environment or whatever, right? You think you cannot really do it, you're not creative, you're not blah blah blah, you know what I mean? Like these kind of things you should throw out, because these things are outside circumstances. You should never focus on outside factors. You should always focus on within you. What can you work on? What do you have in power? Because again, you cannot really force other people to do stuff. You can only focus on yourself. And when things happen outside of your power, that's it. That's there. But that is not going to hold you back from achieving what you want. You need to get this in your mind. I know it's hard, and I know it's not going to come from today to tomorrow, but believe me, for me it changed everything. I always focus on other people. I always focus on outside circumstances, because that was also kind of like an explanation why I didn't achieve the goal. But rather, I should have focused my energy actually within, to focus on how can I develop myself as a person in order to actually achieve my goals. Doesn't matter what happens outside of my power. So important, guys. So important, because you cannot change it. You cannot change it. You cannot change outside circumstances at all. Okay? And there's actually George Bernard Shaw actually said something very nice that I'm also going to read out. He said, I love it, by the way. I don't believe in circumstances. The people that get on this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want. And if they can't find them, they make them. Meaning, The people that really get successful in achieving their goals, they don't look for circumstances, they don't look for people, they don't look for any outside factors. They actually search for the circumstances they feel like they can achieve their goals. And if they don't find these circumstances, they will create the circumstances. How powerful is this? Oh, I love it. But coming a little bit to the end and actually speak about your purpose. In order to find a good goal, you need to ask yourself not only what do you want, you need to ask yourself what do you love? What do you love? And what is your project that you want to work on? Me, myself, I also worked with a simple formula, which is the SMART-based goal concept. And basically you write down the word SMART, S-M-A-R-T, and it stands for different words. So when it comes to your goals, you should definitely follow these for sure. So the S stands for specific. Your goal needs to be specific. It doesn't, like, let's say, for example, you want to make more money. Your goal shouldn't be, hey, I want to make more money than right now. No, you have to say, for example, I want to make $10,000 a month with doing XXX, right? For example, you can even go more deep down, but you need to have something specific. And most likely when we speak about money, for example, it needs to be a fixed amount of money. I want to make $1 million a year. I want to make $100,000 a month, $50,000 a month. Whatever your goal is, it needs to be specific. It cannot be something like I want to make more money or whatever it is. Not specific, not good. So there, most of the people already fail. Also, what I hear a lot of time is, I want to be financially free. Okay, great. What is financially free? For you, maybe making $1 million is financially free. For other people, when they make $1 million, they're like, oh my God, that's bare minimum. You know, that's all my bills, but I cannot really live, right? Again, different circumstance for different people. So be specific for your situation. Number 2, M, the M from SMART is measurable. It needs to be measurable, right? And money, for example, is measurable, so that's good. But if you have like a goal that is not measurable, it's simply not good. You know, you need to find something that is measurable, right? Also helps when you, for example, have a specific time, but that's also one of the last points. But again, S, specific, a specific goal. How much money you make, with which occupation, whatever, something like that. And it needs to be measurable. So in this case, when it's money, it's completely fine. A from SMART stands for achievable. And when it comes to achievable, of course, we spoke right now about being in fantasy, you know, like being creative, having a fantasy, having a C-type goal where you don't really know how to achieve it, but you want it, you love it. And achievable doesn't mean that it needs to be realistic, but let's say right now you are making $1,000 per month. And if you now say, next month I want to make $1 million a month. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but this is just a little bit delusional, right? So it still needs to be in a frame that is not too crazy, right? Again, I'm not telling you to do too little, but this step from $1,000 a month within 1 month to go for 1 million, most of the time you don't really have a plan. And the problem is, if you set delusional goals, then it will most likely also put your mood down if you don't achieve it. So again, it needs to be something not too delusional, not too realistic, right? It doesn't need to be realistic at all, but it still needs to be something that makes sense, okay? The R stands for relevant. And what I mean with relevant is that it needs to align with the long-term vision. It needs to align with your long-term values, your long-term objectives, okay? Don't have a goal. Let's say you want to make XX amount of money with XX occupation, but you actually don't like the occupation at all, right? You need to find something that you love. So don't just do something for the money. Don't just do something for the success, but actually find something that you really love and combine it then with a nice goal financially. And last but not least, T is time bound. Time bound means that you need to have like a date, okay? For example, which works really well, is a 365 days goal. But of course, you can break it down to 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, something like that. But let's say you start today, right? It is 27th of April. You start today. You need to have something like a fixed date. Let's say 27th of April, 2026, which is 1 year, right? Needs to be something specific. So you need to have a specific number, a specific occupation, something measurable, as we said already. It needs to be achievable. It needs to be relevant for you long term. Does it fit your values? Does it fit your long-term thinking, long-term objectives in the next 5, 10 years? You know, always needs to be. 10-year goal is very important, right? If you have a 10-year goal, you break down everything down. Let's say you have a 1-year goal then, right? But the 10-year goal is always the one that is the most important. So the 1-year goal needs to serve the 10-year goal. So that's what I mean with long-term values, long-term objectives. You should always think long-term, but then you need to break it down. But there we can make another video about that as well, right? So it needs to be time-bound. And I actually have another important sentence or quote that I have here on my screen on the right side. Steve Bow actually said, and I love it because he brings God in. God's gift to us is more talent and ability than we'll ever hope to use in our lifetime. Our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. So I believe in you. You can do it. You have everything within you. The only question is how much you express it. And I dare you to write this on a piece of paper. I'm actually thinking about giving you guys a spreadsheet as well, but just simply write down your goal on a piece of paper in present tense. So you say, I'm happy and grateful. This is how you start every sentence. I am happy and grateful now that I am making $10,000 a month with XXX by the 27th of April, 2026. And all your goals you write in this sentence. I am happy and grateful now that. And this you read every day, every morning. There's also a way to do that in a vision statement. I, for example, even did it a little bit more intense. So I added emotions, I added smell. So for example, this is another thing that you can do. Basically one of my days in 365 days, right? From morning to evening. I did I wake up to the smell of freshly brewed coffee with tonka bean, smell, something like that, which song I'm listening to. And I'm reading this vision statement every day. And guys, believe me, if you read this every day, I'm happy and grateful now that, you will get more confident. You will see it in front of your eyes because it is this visualizing thing, the picture that you create in your head that will change it and make it happen in combination with your actions, of course, in your real life. So I hope this episode helped you guys to get more clarity about how to set proper goals. And yeah, I'm super excited for your feedback. With that being said, that was it for today. We're gonna see each other next week as well. I would highly appreciate if you guys share this video, give me feedback in the comments, and of course send me private feedback as well. If you have my contact, or you can always reach out on my Instagrams. I have them down below. So yeah, with that being said, guys, much love. I'm super excited for next week, and much love. See you soon. Bye bye.